Welcome back to another episode of Talking Chaos. I am the Condor, as always, and with me, as per the usual, is Warlock Fred.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What kind of spells you got for us this week, Fred? We've been joking about you casting shit, and I frankly, other than being a bird, have never witnessed anything too terrible.
I literally turned you into a bird.
I know, well, alright. Fair play. We've got an interesting topic for you guys this week, but before we get into it, we'd really like to thank our patrons, all three of them. Right now, I believe it's Chelsea B, Mike S, and Allie S. Thank you very much for supporting us. If you'd like to be credited in an episode, sign up at our Patreon. It's patreon.com/talkingcast. Sorry, guys, I'm a little loopy. I got a rock in my body. Maybe we'll talk about it in an episode sometime. But for now,
I mean, if you'd like, we could mention it real quick. I mean, we can do your medical ailment if you'd like.
Well, I don't really want to put the audience through too much, and I'd rather be really vague about it and hope that they'll listen to an episode in the future where we maybe bring it up. So,
all right, my bad.
Yeah, no, it's good. So for now, this week's episode, or today's episode, is going to be on what people are going to be nostalgic for 20 years from now. Okay, so in 20 years, what will people be nostalgic for? Fred, what do you got? What do you got to say on this?
Blu-ray players, or some form, whatever media it is,
a physical copy of your entertainment, right?
Yeah, physical entertainment, or even at that point. So I think I mentioned this to you a couple minutes ago. Was the 20 years ago for us was 10.
We were the age of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 10 years old. Where the internet was actually starting to pick up. We were actually it was starting to computers were actually starting to become an actual in school thing because the government funding fucks everybody over.
I went to an elementary school where we had computers. I took a typing class, but right around the age of 10 was the first time that my parents contemplated getting us a home computer, and it became something that was affordable. Even bad ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, what is considered bad by today's standard, which back then was cutting edge and still several.
Right. That's exactly what I mean too. So in 20 years, we'll be 50.
Yep.
To give you some context, it will be 2039. Will we have flying cars yet? We touched on this a long time ago, and I'm still fucking the flying cars thing. Will people be nostalgic for driving their own vehicles?
I think that's so for me personally, I think that's a freedom that people aren't willing to give up and won't be able to give up.
You don't think in 30 years or 20 years they will have given it up, or it will have been taken away from them?
Now, that may be the case, but I think that willingly is the issue. I think that actual physical driving, where you're you press the pedal, the car goes, you steer, you have the steering wheel, all that shit. So my thing is I see the AI,
the physical participation of driving, right? That's what you're talking about, being engaged in the act of driving.
Yeah, because right now we're in the development stages of AI, where AI is actually automated driving and things like that. Where
there's self-driving cars.
Yeah, but there's a significant amount of technology involved with that. They have to have all these type of sensors and everything else in order to do it. And so the issue I have, so for example, and it's not that I'm not pro green energy or anything like that, but our energy, for example, the electric cars, our current grid that we have, the electric grid we have,
it wouldn't support the entire population having electric cars.
Yes,
I totally understand what you're about to say. We are generating enough wattage to deal with the amount of vehicles that the populace would have. You basically need twice as much power as we're currently generating, I think. maybe 3 times as much.
I don't know the specifics on it.
Well, my assumption is that to power a vehicle to run for an entire day would take about the same amount of energy the average house generates in a day. That's my assumption. I think it's a fair assumption. You're looking at me like, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
No, like for me, I don't know the exact specifics. I don't know like wattage, kilowatt per hour, everything. Like
we're not electricians.
Absolutely, I'm not.
We're 2 college dropouts, and one of us is attempting to change that.
Hey,
yeah, it's definitely not the bird.
I'm going back to Hogwarts.
Yeah, so like CDs too.
Well, I mean,
we grew up in the cassette CD era,
and CDs are actually less of a thing now. Like even
I miss CDs.
Well, I mean, how many places have you been recently that have actually sold CD? Like, other than like...
That's a very interesting question. I can't remember the last time I saw like a CD bin or a CD rack.
Yeah, like
at like any shopping center.
So for me, I see them occasionally. Like, so that they're very like. For me, it's the like the big chain that I won't use names, but like one starts with a W, one starts with a T. Like the big chains that use like that sell media and entertainment and things like that. Their sections for the CD section have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller because we've gone to the digital streaming age of that we are in now.
Yeah, you and I grew up with stores that had places where you could listen to music too.
Yep.
There were stations with headphones where you could like scan a CD, listen to it for a little while, check it out, get a feel for it. Okay, I really like this. It's worth the $23 goddamn it's going to cost to buy this piece of fucking silicone. It felt like they were silicone.
So for me, like
hard plastic.
I grew up in the fucking sticks. Like it was a bitch to get me to any of the chain stores we're talking about. And so for me, it was you listen to the radio, and when you hear that fucking like that song come on, you press fucking record on that cassette.
I did that shit when I was a little kid too.
and
that shit was dope.
I know it's me dating myself, but at the same time, that was me at like 8, 9, 10 years old. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I remember hitting record on like some of the like pop stations and shit like that to catch the new shit.
I wonder if I'm gonna miss conventional computers. Like I know that e-gaming is kind of a thing, so that may not fall off as quickly as I imagine it will. But I have this sort of fear that everything's going to become touch, and I'm going to miss like a keyboard and mouse.
I think the thing that's going to happen is the conventional desktop as it was when we were growing up, which is this big ass fucking tower, like right next, like you had a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse. Like
I'm currently running on that right now, talking to you all.
But like as we've even seen now, they have the all-in-ones where it's literally just the monitor that has everything else inside of it.
Yeah, but I also have one of those. Yep. But I'm kind of worried that like computers are going to be starting to be built in less of a like VR is going to become a really ridiculous thing. And so I think that I'm gonna miss the conventional like console gaming because I think that's gonna start to fade away.
What do you mean console gaming? Like you mean the
like controller hooking it up into your TV? Instead, it's gonna be a system you step into.
Well,
but like it's like that movie that I won't go into that where you like put the stuff on. And suddenly you're in a reality. You don't even need a TV anymore.
You know what? I know we've played this game for a while of let's avoid the pop culture references, and I feel like it's starting to hinder where we're trying. Like the aspect.
It is coming to a head a little bit.
Yeah. So and it was originally a book, but Ready Player One
Yeah,
is
that's the one I'm referencing for sure.
and I understand that and I appreciate that because I feel like that is where we're going within the next 20 years. Like that I feel like that's where the desk, or not necessarily console gaming, because I can see console gaming because, like, I mean, we have.
I can see both of them phasing out in the same way because VR takes over completely.
So I get that feeling. I'm a console gamer. Like for me personally, like I have both an Xbox and a PlayStation.
Well, this is the part that in my mind logically makes the most sense, okay? VR is not going to take over because it's a preference. It's going to take over because it's a convenience. Okay? And this is my logic behind that. Companies, right? Call centers are a great example.
Okay.
Or tech support centers of any kind where you've got basically hundreds of people that come to a particular place to do the same job. How much easier would it be if they all had virtual headsets at home and they stepped into a virtual office and did the same job?
I mean, you're essentially talking about telework, which is already a thing that happens.
Yep.
Like you can VP, like, so for example, in the job that I work, or in the location I work now, like we have civilian contractors that can do teleworking where they like, hey, I'm not, like, they call in and like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it into the office today. And they create their own VPN, VLAN session and like work essentially from home. And can do everything they can do at work just at home. And there's a lot, like, I know in the tech industry specifically that there's a lot more people working or moving towards that, like where it's a lot more virtualization and a lot more like decentralization instead of it being, hey,
I guess we're circling around something that's a lot deeper that it just dawned on me. It just suddenly clicked. And now a lot of people have been talking about this forever, but like it's so self-evident when you and I both look outside, we can definitely notice the difference. And we're going to be the generation that watches this happen. But nobody leaves their house anymore. Downtowns are dying in ways that I could not possibly fathom. Some continue to live on because of the way that we'll call it a microcosm of society, the way that it's supported on that.
Their micro environment.
Yeah. So, but like Chicago is a great example of a place that there are tons of people that are still on the street, that still use public transportation, that still go to work. But as those jobs don't become necessity to be there, as teleworking becomes easier and easier to do and cheaper than like bringing employees to an office, you're going to see places like Chicago start to dwindle. And I think you already have. The suburbs obviously have grown in places like Chicago, in places like New York City. In those downtown areas, they're receding. It's like watching a bald spot appear on the top of somebody's head. Like there's this donut sort of. I think that that's my prediction is I'm going to miss downtowns. I think.
So I disagree.
You think so?
No. I understand where you're going with it. I understand that like a lot more like.
I'm glad you disagree. I like having other ideas.
No, I understand that the whole like there's going to be a decentralization of like the tech industry and like major like work like call center, like you were saying, call centers and stuff like that. But like you're still going to have at some extent at least personal interaction with like going like and I've even seen
that's the part that's starting to fade too, man. Is there's less and less personalization of people and interaction. Like that's why I love what we're doing here right now because it feels so much more personal than most of the shit that I'm listening to on the internet. I could be wrong. I could be completely full of shit and it could be the drugs that I'm on right now. I have no fucking clue, man. I'm just saying that's already something I miss. And maybe it's part of the reason why I like go out of my way to have strange ass conversations with fucking strangers.
So, as a generation, I think it's something that we've noticed. Like,
We have
I'm
to take note of.
well,
It's almost a responsibility that we have.
like, so I know that like in mainstream media and everything, the term millennial has become a derogatory term. But
It's so fucking derogatory.
but I'm actually okay with labeling myself as a millennial because that's actually where I was. Like, I actually was there during like.
I'm a millennial libtard snowflake. I don't give a shit, man.
I mean, I'm not going that far with the like adding politics to it, but
Hey, I'm not saying you're a snowflake. I'm just saying I know that that's what the people on the internets call me.
But no, so like I've actually experienced where it went from like cell phones being like literal phones to like texting became a thing, and then like
nobody calls each other anymore. I already missed that.
Yeah, like I mean, I call Rhodes sometimes, like occasionally, and I call my mom and my wife, and that's kind of it.
You call your wife out of necessity, and you guys live together. I think that's just one of those things. No matter how much you are close to somebody and you live with them, that's going to be the one person you call the most. It seems so like redundant when I think about it. Anybody's in contact with you the most, it's the person you live with. Why would they need to be on the phone with you so much?
Well, I mean, so for example, there are times where she'll give me like, hey, here's the grocery list. I need you to go get these things. And like, I'll look at the list and be like, fuck, this is going to be at least a 3-call list.
Yep. I'm not going to know what she specifically means on at least 3 of these items. I get it.
Like, so like, I'll go to the store and be like, and then like, all right, so I need to look at fucking like pasta sauce or whatever, like marinara something. Like, hey, so there's like 12 different fucking flavors and like 7 different brands.
Are we gonna miss our balls as men? Is that where you're going with this? in 20 years?
I mean, maybe.
I hate to sound so misogynistic, but it just sounded like that's where you headed with this.
No, not at all. Actually, that's lack of misogyny, I guess. I don't know, like the lack of balls. But at the same time, like you bring
I'm such a mama's boy, just so everybody knows. It's such a tragedy.
No, so you bringing that up, like, okay, in 20 years, I would like to see it that there is actually like male birth control instead of it just being reliant upon the female or condoms.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. But like I'm not gonna miss the backwards, like what's happening now. That's not a part of what I'm gonna miss. I'm still gonna miss some of my favorite politicians who will go unnamed. I'll probably miss some television shows that will have probably been taken off the air. That will be really tragic.
In 20 years, I doubt that any of the TV shows that are currently on will still be on. Like, let's see here.
You don't think reruns? Fucking Cosby Show was on forever.
Look, man.
TV Land played some really old shit for a while there, man.
I mean putting on new shit. Like the same TV shows of today putting on new shit in 20 years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You don't think so?
No, absolutely not.
I wonder if TV will even be a thing.
It'll probably, like, in 20 years, we'll probably have some fucking microchip or like circuit board attached to our brain that'll just be streamed directly to our brain and whatever.
Oh, you think commercials will just like download into our cerebellum without our goddamn permission? That sounds like the society that we're headed to.
Well, I mean, so again, pop culture references. If you haven't seen Altered Carbon, you need to.
Oh yeah, I watched it. It was good.
Yeah, and so like when like he's getting all the like ads and feedback and everything else, and she like comes in and like helps him out with the like, hey, you don't want to like inject.
Spoiler alert. What the fuck?
First off, that's like episode 1, like maybe 20 minutes in. Like
I was just making jokes, Fred. I don't know why you gotta take this so seriously. Take another shot of bourbon.
God damn.
He did too. Straight up Rick Sanchez right here. What else do you think you might miss? Will you miss your mom? You think your mom's gonna be alive?
So it's interesting you bring that up. I don't have a great relationship with my parents. And I think I've even had this conversation with you of the like, I don't plan on coming back home unless there's either a class reunion or a funeral.
Or a funeral. Jesus.
And it's not like I'm coming back for my grandma's funeral. That lady was an old ass bitch and I did not like anyway.
That's family you're speaking of, so that's why it's okay.
But like I'm definitely gonna come back like for my parents' funerals whenever the fuck that happens. Whether that be
you think it'll happen in the next 20 years?
With
how old will they be?
They'll have definitely no.
Will they be older than 70?
Yes.
The odds are excellent that they could be dead.
Yes, like 70s, 80s, like late 70s, early 80s.
So you won't necessarily miss your parents.
I mean, not saying that I won't miss my parents, but there isn't much of a relationship there right now anyway. So it's not necessarily something that I'm like, oh no, I'll be heartbroken over that. Like I'm sure
you'll miss them, but it won't be the deep miss that you imagine other people have when they think of missing their parents. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, essentially. Like I know that there are people that have much better relationships. Excuse me. There are people that have much better relationships with their parents than I do. But like, and I know that they're like, oh my God, like they're the people that like break down and cry at the funeral and everything like that. And I really don't see that happening for me.
Yeah, dude. If my mom dies in less than 20 years, I'll be broken. Like I said, mama's boy. Right. I was going to bring it up. I'm not trying to. That's not where you're going.
Hey, I love your mom. She's fucking great. She's a hard ass and she's kind of crazy sometimes, but I love her.
Shout out to Condor's mom. I'm probably going to miss my daughter's childhood the most.
Oof.
I know that sounds like some crazy ass shit to say, but she'll be 23 years old. So, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, like Condor is not like with his daughter 24/7.
Yeah.
Like there is a separation.
I'm a part-time parent for sure.
Yeah. And whereas with me, like I would like to like, okay, 20 years, I'll have been out of the military. Like if I decide to stick it out and do the 20, get retirement, everything like that. If I decide to do like, so what's great for me is I've actually timed this out that when I retire at 20 years, my daughter turns 18 that fucking year, and I can be like, hey, get the fuck out. I'm retired. Get out.
You're such a prick. So how old will she be in 20 years?
In 20 years, she'll be 24.
Yeah, okay. So think about that for a second.
Like, all right. Like, I would hope, and I would like to think that she's been, like, put through college and taken care of because I've made some reasonable financial investments to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, 24, where the fuck? Well, I mean, I was in the military at 24. Like, I had my 24th birthday in Mississippi.
Not where I would want to be.
Oh no, like good God. Okay, so
we won't talk about it right now.
No, we've done the birthday episode, so y'all know that my birthday is in summer. And like summer Mississippi, you're literally swimming down the fucking sidewalk because the humidity is so goddamn high.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny. So will you miss your daughter's childhood the same way that I think I will miss mine?
You know, there are some things that even to this day, like I have some friends that are like, for lack of a better term, elder parents. Like they have kids that are older and like, oh, you're going to miss these days and everything like that. And it's like, And like my daughter, she's 4 and she's like 40 fucking pounds, but she still wants to like, Daddy, pick me up. And it's like,
Yeah, I'm with you.
But child, you're 40 fucking pounds. Like I'll pick you up, but like
you're 2 bowling balls.
Like we're going 20 feet and then Daddy's putting you down.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm not a strong man.
And
I was raised in the 2000s.
So for me, it's more the like I miss when she was like and I see the like memories on Facebook and everything of the like when she was like a tiny little like fucking like 13-pound chunker. And like so for the first like 3 weeks that she was alive, she slept on my chest. Like that was where the only place she wanted to sleep. And I was good with it. And it's different to see this child, like literally child, like I can't call her a toddler anymore because like
she'll be an adult in 20 years.
Man, fuck off.
I know. It's terrifying. I know.
It is. It's like, I mean, fucking 10 years. Like, what's going to happen in 10 years? She's going to be a goddamn teenager. She's going to be dating boys. I'm going to be like, hey, motherfucker, I got guns.
No, I was trained to use them.
I've been trained to use them. I can kill you from a fucking different zip code.
And that'd do it for me. Put me out of my misery for a first date for sure. That might be that'll definitely not be something either of us miss, is watching either of our daughters date. Hopefully by then they aren't.
In 20 years?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that actually, now that I think about it, I hope my daughter's dating at 24.
I kind of do too.
Because so I dated, like obviously I dated, but like I didn't get married until I was 22.
Can I ask you a question?
Go.
At what age would it be appropriate for me to ask your daughter out? I had to. It's completely uncalled for. I would never do that. Not in a million years. I swear to God. But I just thought I wanted to see the look on Fred's face in this mix of like semi-laughter and mild fury and rage. Now that he's turning red, it's apparent that I went too far.
Remember that whole "I'll kill you from a different zip code" thing?
I know, but like I'm like
it still applies
zip
today.
codes away, so I feel safer. I feel 26 times safer.
You are only a 9-hour drive away.
I only do it for the laughs. I don't think that any of that is appropriate. I don't think anybody with fucking 27-year difference should be dating ever. Unless it's maybe just like friends with benefits. That's the only time.
Bruh.
What? At least then I know that both parties are like getting something out of it. Whereas like the other thing is always like somebody's got money, don't they? Right?
Dude, you're 30 living in the same fucking bedroom you were at 12.
Why you gotta hate like that? I think it's homely.
You think it's homely?
It's familiar. I'm gonna miss this bedroom, god damn it. In 20 years, I hope I miss this bedroom. You fucking bringing it up like that. We're gonna wrap this episode up because I feel like things are getting real personal. If you guys enjoyed this episode, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/talkingchaos. We got a YouTube channel. We got a Facebook page. If you think that you know what's up and think we're completely full of shit, go to our subreddit at Talking Chaos Podcast and tell us what you would be nostalgic for in 20 years. Thank you guys and have a great night.